Should you summon for Hoyan and Holden? How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious. Welcome to a series I've done forever in other games, but since this is the first new banner in the history of Etheria Restart, it's a new series right here for this game. It's called Should You Summon? I'm going to break down the characters, break down the content they will be good in, or at least what we can anticipate them being good in. And then at the end, I'll answer the question, should you summon? Last night, we had our first big update in Etheria Restart, and as of this morning, the new limited banners are live. So the order we'll progress through this video will be the following. First off, I have to explain how limited banners work. We're all brand new to the game. The only limited banner we ever had before this was for Freya. I really hope you went for it because Freya is freaking awesome. But now that we're getting two new limited banners at the same time, we got to spend a minute or two making sure you all understand exactly how these banners work. Then I want to break down the kits very quickly, but quick hits, break down the kits, nice little rhyme, of each one of these great new characters. First we'll do Hoyan, then we'll do Holden. Then we'll just talk through pretty quickly which content these guys will excel in, and they both will certainly have their niches, undeniably very, very strong for specific things. And at long last, at the end of the video, I'm going to answer that question, should you summon? And I will also let you know my plans because I've already made a whole plan how I'm going to approach this. There's one unit I'm going for. There's one unit I am not. I am free to play, so that informs my decision making. But you should also let your roster and your current Anima inform that decision. So guys, should you summon? Let's get into it. And guys, if you're not yet playing Etheria Restart, I cannot praise this game enough. I really love it. There's a reason I'm making so much content on it. If you want to download today and join in on the fun, I've got my own link in the description and the top pinned comment. Using my link is also going to help me in the channel in a really big way. So if you want to support, please do it. And also, trust me, you're going to love the game. And also, if you like my content, we're doing it all the time, baby. So please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. How do these limited banners work? We did just have Freya. She ran for a long time, I guess 9 days, something like that, 8 or 9 days since the game launched, only 9 days ago. Kind of crazy to think about. We're already getting our second and third limited banners less than a week and a half after global launch. They're coming in hot and heavy in Etheria. I think some people will be very jazzed up about this because they're loving the game and they want to get into it. I think other people will be less so because they'll feel like we didn't have enough time to save. It is what it is, baby. Approach it how you must. You can see we have the two limited banners here. There's exactly 12 days on these banners, so I'm filming about halfway into the first day of both banners, so you can see they're ending in 11 days and 10 hours. That should give you a pretty significant amount of time to save up resources, especially if you still have some echoes to go through. If you still have the Etheria Rally, that's a great way to earn currency, great way to earn resources. However, undeniably, all the launch rewards and codes and first completion things and events that were going on that first week are starting to dry up. So those of us that have summoned 400 times free to play, obviously that's going to slow down a bit. If you're a spender, though, it seems like they've got some pretty good pay-to-win deals. But with these limited banners, they're going to run for just under 2 weeks, 12 days, remember, and they have a very special pity or mercy system. So you can see here on both Hoyan and on Holden, it says guaranteed limited SSR Animus within 80 summons. So a key thing to know, you are guaranteed, hard guaranteed, within your first 80 summons, you will get Holden if you're on that banner, or you will get Hoyan if you're on the other banner. There are actually no other SSR units available on these banners. For the Hoyan banner, it is just Hoyan. For the Holden banner, it is just Holden. This was true of Freya. This is true of Hoyan and Holden. This will be true for all future limited banners unless they radically change something within the gacha system for these kind of banners. You can see it as the same chance as always to get one of these limited heroes, 1%. However, there's a key difference with the Mercy. If we go to the permanent summon banner over here, where most of us have done most of our summoning up until this point, if we go to the rules, you will see this key thing here. If you do not obtain an SSR Animus after 50 consecutive summons, the subsequent drop rates increase. And they increase in a pretty significant way. Typically, almost no player will go over 60 summons on the permanent banner without hitting an SSR. And I haven't seen anyone going higher than 70. It seems like that sweet spot is like 55 to 60, 55 to 62. There is no such progressively increasing mercy-based rate ups with that chance when it comes to the limited banners. You're guaranteed with 80, which, by the way, does not mean you're guaranteed on your 80th summon. It means within your first 80 summons, you're guaranteed. So if you go 79 summons without getting the limited Animus, you know number 80, that is the guarantee. It's guaranteed within the 80. So it's going to happen within those first 80. We're on the same page? Beautiful. But if we go to the probabilities here and we go to the rules, you'll see there's no such stipulation about increasing rates after 50 summons. So it's very likely a lot of players will have to go to the full 80. You should think about that and let it inform your decision if you choose to go for these limited banners. You might be wondering, what happens if you do 60 pulls on the HOYAN banner, for example, and then the banner ends and you didn't get her? What becomes of the 60 summons worth of mercy, worth of building towards the guarantee that you did? Well, they will roll over to the next limited banner, and I think that is huge. I think it's very player friendly. I've played games where they do not do this, and I hate it. So I think it's very strong that it is going to roll over. You're going to pick up where you left off. So if you do 60 summons for HOYAN or for Holden, for this example, and then you don't get them on this limited round, when the next limited banner comes around, you know you're guaranteed not within 80, but within 20, because you've already done the 60. Alrighty, I think that breaks down our limited banners very clearly. Let's talk about now the kits, so you know these characters before you decide whether or not you want to summon on them. I'm going to try to go pretty fast here. Let's start with HOYAN. HOYAN is Hollow Affinity. She's a green character, as you can see over here, and she is a single target DPS extraordinaire. She has an unkillable mechanism in her kit. She hits very hard. As she loses HP, her damage will scale higher and higher, and she even has one nice debuff over here on the S1 on her basic attack with Wound. So let's actually start here on the S1. This is a double hitter. Each hit is fairly hard, but nothing crazy, 130% damage to a single enemy, and each attack has a 25% chance to inflict wound. What is wound? This is a heal reduction. This is a heal block. This is a heal nullifier, whatever you call it in your other games. It makes it so the enemy cannot receive healing. With a 25% chance over 2 hits, it comes out to about a 44% chance that you're going to land it from this skill over those 2 hits. So it's solid. It's not 100% reliable. It is nearly a coin flip. It's pretty good, but it's not something you're going to lean on for any PvE kind of runs if wound is a debuff you need and you want a 100% farm. I will say the most disappointing thing about this skill is it just doesn't hit that hard, in my opinion. Compared to the rest of her kit, I just don't love 260% damage, 130% over these 2 instances. The kit gets really, really, really good, though, once we go into the S3 and the passive. Let's talk about the S3, the ultimate, first. It is called Execution Right. This thing starts at a 4-turn cooldown. With skill ups, it goes down to a 3-turn. So if you do skill her up, and if you want to use her, especially in PvP where she's going to be a superstar, I really do suggest you skill up this S3. And also, let me say now, all the skill ups we're talking about throughout this video are going to be at max skill. There's no way actually to preview what they're like unskilled, at least not that I know of. If you know of a way, let me know. I think the only way is just to have the character and see. I really wish what they would do is tell us how much they are increasing by. So with level 2 here, you can see it says increases the damage multiplier to 420%. What did it start at? I feel like we can guess it started at 400, but if it said increases damage multiplier by 20%, and if this one said increases it by 30%, we would know it started at 400%, for example. So things like that in this game have been bothering me as someone that likes to read kits, break down kits and videos, stuff like that. That, though, is neither here nor there. This is a strange skill, but it is a potent skill. She's actually going to cut her current HP in half, and that is significant, right? Because if she has 60% HP, she is going to drop 30% HP down to 30% total, not from 60 and then drop it 50 down to 10%. It's half of the current HP, and then she's going to deal 450% damage to a single enemy. That is a nice multiplier. It's not crazy. However, it becomes crazy because as you can see here, for every 10% of max HP lost, this attack's damage increases by 10%. So if we use my 60% HP example when she starts her turn, she's going to cut her HP by 30%. She's down to 30 now. That means she's lost a total of 70% HP from 100 to 30. She is going to get 7 stacks of this 10% damage boost, one for each 10% of max HP loss. A 70% damage boost on a 450% damage base skill, that is going to slap. You may be wondering, how can you take full advantage of this skill and how does her kit get to the next level? That is where the passive comes in, Disillusion. So the first part of this passive is on a 4-turn cooldown, but essentially it is a death prevention effect. And if she's going to take lethal damage that would have killed her, she's going to drop down to 1 tick of HP. You can see the HP will not drop below 1 point, and that is because she's placing the soul ward buff on herself. So this is a death prevention and keeps her HP from dropping below 1. So she's saving herself from death. However, when that triggers, when she's about to die and puts the soul ward on herself, she will immediately trigger her S3. This also won't affect the cooldown of the S3, which is really nice, but she's going to immediately trigger it and attack the target that was trying to kill her. Now, if she was about to die and she's at 1 tick of HP, that means she's lost over 90% of her HP, which means she's going to get 9 stacks of the damage boost. So it is a 90% damage boost. That is really, really, really strong. She goes back, attacks the unit that tried to kill her, and she hits it really hard. If she kills that unit, she will revive all of her dead allies, and they will get the amount of HP she took from the enemy she killed trying to kill it. I know it's a little confusing, but it is very, very strong. Also, that revive mechanic is not tied to the triggering of Soul Ward and then the automatic triggering of Execution Right. If she ever kills an enemy unit, she will apply that. So there are kind of two parts of this passive. There's like the dodgeball, I kill you, my allies are back mechanic, and there is the death save, let me go in with my ultimate mechanic. When either of those things are triggered, as you can see here, either part of that passive effect is triggered, you're going to see she's going to get this stack of Fleeting Glance, and she can get up to 3 stacks of this. Each stack increases her attack by 40%. So if you get 3 stacks, that is a 120% attack boost. So she is undeniably going to be a single target slapper. In my opinion, there are 2 pieces of content she's going to totally excel. In my opinion, there will be 2 pieces of content in which she totally excels. But before we get into that, let's talk about Holden. He is Reason or Red Affinity, so kind of the opposite of his sister there. He's actually strong against her, which is kind of funny because he might be able to counter her fairly well in Arena with some of the cool things he does. The key thing to know here with Holden is he is a defense-based damage dealer. He has very good debuffs. He hits pretty freaking hard. It's a lot in the kit. He'll be slightly stat hungry, but he is a really, really good unit. So if we start with the S1 right now, we've got a triple hitter, pretty solid damage, 110% of his defense per hit. So that's 330% damage. And then each hit, this is all at max skill ups, has a 20% chance to apply a defense break of 60%. 20% doesn't sound like much, but over 3 hits, effectively this skill has a 49% chance to land the defense break. It's kind of a 50-50 coin toss. And then what's really important, if you go to the special skill here, execution mode, for every 500 defense you build upon him, he increases his counterattack rate by 10% and the damage he does by 5%. So if you build lots of defense on him, which you should because he's a defense-based unit, you're getting chances to counterattack, which means he's coming in with this S1 all the time with boosted damage as well. That applies to everything, but the more chances to use his S1, the more chances to use his basic, more opportunities to put out that defense break, lots of triple hitters coming out there. Also really good for content where you need to put out a lot of hits. For example, Aurora, not to get ahead of myself, but he's going to be very, very, very good there. The S2 now, this is really cool for both PvE and especially PvP. We've got a big single target move, 480% of his defense, and it comes with, and at max skill ups, it comes with a 100% chance to fully push back the target's turn meter by 100%. It takes the target's turn meter down to nada. If that wasn't enough, he maximizes all the skill cooldowns of the target. So the maximizing of the skill cooldowns won't work against bosses, but it is phenomenal against mobs, and it's obviously amazing in the arena, amazing in any PvP content. I really like this skill. And keep in mind, that turn meter pushback against bosses can be the difference between completing a run and not completing a run. Doki Doki is just a bunch of mobs, so there's no penalty. In Terramaton and in Aurora, you do 30% less pushback, so it's still a 70% turn meter drop that he's going to be able to put out on bosses. This is a very, very good move, and it hits pretty dang hard. The best move in his kit, though, undeniably, and this is why I'm really excited about Holden, if you can't tell already, is going to be his S3, Steadfast Conviction. This is an AoE move. It doesn't hit that hard. It's 180% per hit over 2 hits. 360 is definitely good for an AoE. It's not crazy, but if he crits, and you should build him eventually with 100% crit rate, so this should always be happening, he has a 100% chance to dispel 1 buff, put out a decreased attack of 40%, and put out a decreased resistance of 40%. That is AoE. There's not really a move in the entire game like this. It's kind of some combination between Heinrich and Marvel, I would say, different pieces of them. But then there's also the AoE, decreased attack, kind of like the Reverie or like Hellkid. This is such a unique and powerful move, only on a 4-turn cooldown. It is going to be really, really strong. And immediately, a lot of content comes to mind where this is like a home run move. I think especially in PvE, you can get very excited about this because I think that's where most of us are focusing to start right now, unless you're hyper competitive. The game's new. And this is the kind of move, kind of like Kloss's S3, not that it's the same at all, but the kind of move that has so much in it and is so versatile that it's just going to make Holden a beast for so much PvE content. You can tell I'm more excited about Holden than Hoyan. Let's talk about what content they're going to be really, really good in. For Hoyan, simply, I think she's a PvP beast. That dodgeball mechanic, I'm saying that because in dodgeball, you like catch the ball and then you get a team member in. I'm thinking of that here as she gets the kill and then she revives all her fallen allies. That is going to be so clutch in PvP. She's going to be great in go second teams as long as they can't put a block buffs on her with someone like Heinrich by putting that soul ward on herself, and the damage is going to scale like crazy. The affinity is interesting as a holo unit, but against a lot of top units, she'll still just wipe them out. She is going to be very strong in PvP, and I anticipate she'll be extremely meta. I could see very top-end players getting a really nice scary build on her and just kind of taking full advantage of that passive and S3 mechanic. She is going to be a total pest. If we talk about PvE content, there's a handful of Grim Pursuits she'll excel in. I don't want to get into that too much. Let's focus on the thresholds. The main place I think she'll shine, especially because she is green holo affinity, will be Doki Doki. However, she is single target. Everything she does is single target. She'll fully be wiping out enemies, and she'll become a beast over the duration of this battle as she stacks that fleeting glance buff, 40% attack each time, up to 3 stacks. However, without any big AoE, she'll functionally help you a ton, but she's not going to help you speed through this and make it easy like a real Mocha. So without a doubt, certainly to a point, she's going to help you progress through hell a lot. Can she be better than that? I think it will depend on the team comp. Certainly there'll be team comps where she shines, but I think she's going to be an off-meta choice, kind of like a Rahu, whereas Real Mocha, because she is single target, but that splashes everywhere on kills with damage equal to 100% of the single target damage, I just don't think she's going to be top meta for it. But, you know, if you're building her for PvP anyway, because that's a focus of yours, I think she'll shine here a lot. The other place she could really shine is Terramaton, because she has that death save, especially at lower levels. She might just be able to solo Terramaton. She loses all her things. She boosts up her damage. As long as you got some buffs on her and some debuffs out, I could just see her destroying this guy. I think she could be really meta here as a second DPSer. So if you're used to bringing D-Ting to nuke this guy down, her plus D-Ting, and then some support buffing as well as some good debuffs on the boss could just destroy him, even up through Hell 4. That could be disgusting. With Inferno, we'll have to see. But I could see her at least being extremely usable there, maybe even meta. Let's talk about Holden now. Holden to me is just super duper exciting. I think for most PvE things, that AoE decrease attack with the decreased resistance, which makes it so you can build way less effect accuracy on your allied units and lean heavier into things like speed and DPS. It's just going to enable so much more survivability because you're not getting hit as hard, easier to land debuffs. Everyone's going to become better DPSers because of him. And then he himself is going to hit really hard. Also, the fact that he's defense-based is going to make him naturally tanky, so he could be your last or second to last guy standing on a lot of runs and clutch those runs for you. Also, that turn meter push on the S3 is just nasty. So Terramaton, I think he could be really good as like a second option / debuffer, making it so the Terramaton's not hitting you nearly as hard, dropping that turn meter, putting out solid DPS, lowering the resistance. He's just going to be a beast there. For Doki Doki, it will be hard to use him. Undeniably, he's just the wrong affinity. At lower levels, fine, but later on, you will just move on from him, even if he could be really good. The key thing, though, he is going to be the god of Aurora. He is going to be unbelievable here. We've got Aurora and then her little paper crane puppet things. He's going to put out decreased attack on all of them. He's going to put out decreased resistance on all of them, making your whole comp easier. He's going to put out really good DPS, control the turn meter. But what's the most important thing? Aurora starts with immunity. If you have Holden go first or second at the top of your turn order, he's going to open up with the 100% chance to dispel that immunity buff. If he's critting, he's dispelling that one buff AoE, and that's the one on Aurora. That's going to change everything. He'll be even better than Heinrich for that, for certain things, just because it's 100% guaranteed and it is easy. He is going to dominate in Aurora, which I think will become a very, very important threshold as we all get a little bit deeper into the game. For PvP, he'll definitely have a place there. He kind of has a lot of different good debuffs that will function really well. That S2 with the turn meter drop and the full maxing of the cooldowns will be very clutch. Overall, I believe Holden to be the more well-rounded unit. However, if you're very PvP oriented, and especially if you're a spender, I think you've got to try to pick up Hoyan. Let's wrap it up. I hope you feel fully informed now on these characters and have an idea of what you should do. If you're wondering what I'm doing, well, I obviously really like Holden, and I'm using my roster to inform my decision making. I don't have a very good red affinity, reason affinity DPS. I reset my Lian, and if you watch the video where I talk about why I reset my Lian, it's because she's just springing DPS, and I think the top DPS units in this game, unless the damage is god tier, like a real Mocha or a Messiah, they need a lot of extra utility in their kit. And to me, Holden's bringing it all. So much utility, very good DPS, nice innate tankiness because he's defense-based. For my account, he's the no-brainer. Will I get him, though? I don't know. You can see I'm at 20 summons right now. We do have a good 11 days left, so we'll see what happens. Guys, this has been a should you summon video for Holden and for Hoyan. I hope I gave you a lot of information. I hope I answered a lot of questions. I know for a lot of you coming from anime games, this style video, this level of detail and yapping might be new to you. Let me know if you enjoyed this format. This is how I do it with other games. If you have any suggestions, you can let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I've been Fastidious. Share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.